Hi, I am Boipelo Mosehla, a radio presenter, an MC and events host, and the host of In Conversation With here at Scattered News. On today's episode of In Conversation With on Scattered TV, we have Kovini Moodley. She is a CASA, she is a change activist, and she is the founder of Boss Babes of South Africa. And she will be sharing some insight on what it's like to be a high-performing, multifaceted woman. So stay tuned for more.
Hi, I'm Kovini Moodley. I am the founder of Boss Babes of South Africa, a chartered accountant and a change activist. I'm really passionate about driving transformative change in South Africa as a mental health activist.
Today we are sitting with none other than Kovini Moodley. Kovini, how are you?
I am really awesome. Thank you so much for coming through and giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for welcoming us into your space, for welcoming us into your home. I am very excited and positive that it's going to be a very awesome, sit down conversation, dissecting who you are, what you do, your work around, you being a CA, being a mental health activist, being the founder of Boss Babes of South Africa. I'm so excited to hear about it. So I think we'll start by just giving your bio, and then we'll get into everything.
Happy.
Are we happy?
Happy. Excited. I'm so excited.
Same. I'm excited too. Kovini Moodley is a relentless change activist and a public speaker. As the visionary founder of Boss Babes of Africa, she has become a beacon of empowerment to women across the continent, igniting their passions and fueling their dreams with an unwavering commitment to mental health advocacy. She tirelessly works to break the stigma around the critical issue. And to top it all off, Kovini is also certified chartered accountant, CASA, blending financial expertise with her passion for positive transformation. What a bio. Oh my God.
It sounds better when you read it.
Really? I don't even think it's about how I'm reading it. It's about who you are.
Thank you.
And it's about what you do and what you stand for and your cause, right? So without wasting any time, let us get into it, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and what inspired you to become, let's start with the change activist, right? And then we'll take them bit by bit.
Right.
So the journey to becoming a change activist and what inspired you to do that or to want to become that?
So I grew up in a little town called Shallcross, south of Durban. It's often described that if you blink, you'll miss it. So I grew up with a lot of love, a very nurturing environment. And, every weekend we would look forward to making a change in our community, my family and I. So we would visit the local soup kitchens, the library, the clinics, and we would support in terms of giving back to those that were less privileged. And I think in doing that, something inside of me sparked at a very young age. And, I decided that this brings me so much of joy and contentment. And when I grow up, I want to find a way to be able to give back and serve in a bigger way and serve causes that are bigger than myself. And that's really how it all sparked. Fast forwarding along to qualifying as a chartered accountant, that feeling never left me. I felt compelled to want to give back. So it started with mentoring young CAs and then moved on to really starting to focus now on a transformative change in South Africa and how do we drive that forward? How do we actively make sure that change is happening in the environments that we occupy?
So would you say that the inspiration behind that is also part of what inspired you to start a women empowerment platform like Boss Babes?
Absolutely. There was just something inside of me that said I need to create a safe space for women to collaborate, to network, to support each other, because I think somewhere along the line we've become filled with negativity and it's become a competition, and I really want to focus on collaboration over competition.
collaboration over competition. Wow. You know, with you saying that, it reminds me of the short conversation we had off camera about support and the effect that support has on us as people, and how important it is to have a support structure, have a support system, and push each other up.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So collaboration over competition. That's the sentence of the day. Quote of the day. I never thought I'd pick up the quote of the day so early in the podcast, but I did. Yes, collaboration over competition. Love it. So your work includes promoting mental health awareness. How has your personal journey influenced your commitment to this course? Yeah.
You know, when we went through COVID, it was a very difficult time for a lot of people. I unfortunately lost 2 of my friends during the COVID period, and not due to COVID, due to suicide. So that really hit me deep in terms of, recognizing that there is such a stigma around people speaking up. Even today, even during COVID, even in workplaces, irrespective of what industry you find yourself in, there seems to be such a stigma around, understanding mental health. And it's almost taboo in some cultures as well to speak about it. It's seen as something that's not real. And, using Boss Babes of South Africa, which is a female empowerment platform, has really been about trying to have those conversations that are about transparency and sharing our journeys and destigmatizing it, because I believe that the only way you can destigmatize something is through talking about it, through having open conversations. And we've also brought in a lot of very influential women to support us in those conversations. So I think it was, my journey, my lived experience, and then losing 2 friends, and then just noticing around me, even after COVID, people are still not doing well. People are still not in the best sort of mental health state that they can be in.
So you'd say that a big part of it started from you losing your friends, and understanding that the more you speak about these issues is the more awareness is raised about them.
Correct.
It's so crazy. I personally, as much as I feel like you can always talk about things for people to understand them, I feel like you can try to translate something, but how someone chooses to comprehend it is so important. So even in raising awareness on mental health, you can raise as much awareness as you want if the person who's receiving it is not trying to receive and understand. So it's also just about the mentality people have in their approach to it, I think. So wow, how's it been going as a mental health activist?
Look, it's been tough because, as the founder of Boss Babes of South Africa, we get tons of direct messages every day of people telling us how they're not coping, how their mental health is being impacted by things like workplace bullying, by harassment, by GBV. So I think as women of South Africa, we definitely are going through a lot as a collective. And I think that, there's a time and a place for us to also recognize our power and be able to take back our power in the midst of all this chaos.
Do you love it though? Do you love what you do?
I love what I do. I love everything that I do. And I consider myself a multifaceted woman. The one thing that I don't like is when people try and put me into a box. I believe that as women, as human beings, we are called for so many different purposes. From a professional perspective, from a social perspective. And our power really lies in us being able to integrate that and live a life of contentment and fulfillment.
Definitely. So, Kovini, with you having been, the person that you are as a mental health awareness activist and so forth, what are some of the pressing issues that you have encountered in, the realm of what you're doing, and even as being the founder of Boss Babes? What are some of the issues that you have encountered in growing this brand and growing yourself as a brand, and how has your platform addressed these issues?
When I decided to create Boss Babes of South Africa, it was about me bringing my full self to the platform. I wanted to bring my authentic self to the platform. I didn't want to copy anyone or mirror anyone else's page. And I think that's been the greatest element of success for this brand. In terms of me being very transparent about the good, bad, and ugly that's happening in my life. Ordinarily, social media is very much a highlight reel, and people see a highlight reel and they compare their behind-the-scenes lives with these, highlight reels, and that's sort of how you have, decreases in self-esteem, and you get other issues that arise from it. But I think it's important to note that on social media, you have the power to change narratives. You have the power to break barriers. And that's really what we've been doing with our platform, especially for women of color. We've been having a lot of conversations using our experts to really shed light on the narratives the challenges that women of color face on a day-to-day basis, and giving us tools and giving us almost a toolkit to be able to support ourselves going forward.
And, with you speaking on that, I always say this, that what you see on social media is what people want you to see.
Correct.
No one is ever going to post what they don't want someone else to see. So you're always going to see an image of what someone is trying to portray or put out there,
It's curated.
So, yes.
It's their story, and everyone has a right to decide what they want their story to be like. And I think that's the beauty of social media, is that no two stories are alike. And I feel like sometimes there's also a sense of entitlement. People want to know what's happening behind the scenes in your life. But social media is really there, someone deciding that this is what they want to put out and this is what they put out.
Yes, that's very
And you
true.
either resonate or you don't.
Yeah. True. And I think now with your platform being the platform that it is, it's a platform where people who are watching or who are seeing what you do and what you post and what you're about, it's so relatable, and you actually know that, so whatever it is that I'm experiencing, I'm not going through it alone, or like there's people out there who are also, going through the same things I'm going through. You feel like you belong, in a sense, and it's not always the typical people posting them having nice lives, and stuff like that. So it's very much relatable, and it's also very empowering.
Right.
Very empowering. I did say that I've been following Boss Babes for a while, and every time a post comes up, it's always something that is so motivating. It's like, so this lady's doing this, so this is what we're doing now, and it fuels that fire. Right. Yeah.
And that's the intention, to make everyone who's part of our audience believe that your dreams are valid. That is the essence of what Boss Babes is all about. It's about having this vision for yourself, and taking action to drive your life forward, because I think sometimes we get told that we're not enough, or we're too much, or we just don't cut it in the world that we live in. And I think that my message is that your dreams are valid, and it's okay to go ahead and take up that space.
It is, definitely. I do truly believe so. So with I just wanted to get some of the mental health chats out of the way, then we'll move to the other things. Right. So with mental health being the critical issue that it is, how do you work to reduce the stigma around mental health and encourage open conversations about it? Like what is your way of encouraging people to speak? Yeah.
I think it started with me, speaking about my own mental health challenges and what I went through during COVID. And that's really, I want to say, what sparked people looking at our page during COVID, because I would go on live and I would just talk about the fact that I was feeling uneasy. I was feeling quite scared. I have twin sisters. They're both doctors, and they both had to work in the midst of COVID. And that was a very traumatic time for me, because we were never sure every single day if they were going to walk out of those wards alive. So that took its toll on my mental health. And I think in speaking about it, and the more people that come out and speak about it, the less of a stigma, the less scary it becomes. I think a lot of us could even be struggling with some kind of mental health issues, and we don't even know it. We just put it off to being a bad mood or having a bad day, consistently quite a few bad days. So I think it's important to also just do self-check-ins, which I'm really advocating for. Know yourself well enough to know when you're not feeling well. do those check-ins to say, how am I feeling today? How am I feeling out of 10? Am I a 5? Am I a 6? Why am I a 5? What is making me feel like a 5 out of 10 today? And what can I do to sort of uplift myself? And it could be that you need to speak to a friend or a confidant. It could mean that you need to get professional help. And I've been really open about when I need professional help, going out, seeking a professional and getting the help that's needed. There's a place for medication. There's a place for therapists, for psychiatrists. There's a place for all of it. But what's important is for you to be able to acknowledge when you need that help.
So what are some of the platforms that you have spoken on about your mental health activism? Where have you gone? Who have you spoken to? What are the platforms that you have actually been on in advocating this?
So it's really been on my platform, together with influential women of South Africa. Too many to mention the names. But I think everyone that comes through, we're talking, I don't like the word celebrity, but a lot of celebrities have come through to the platform and shared their own personal struggles. And I think as well, we look at someone's life on social media, we see the perfectly airbrushed, pictures, and meanwhile, someone is struggling behind the scenes. And I think that was really eye-opening in terms of the feedback that we received thereafter to say, I felt the same way. I've been feeling the same way. I just didn't know what to do. And I think having these really big names, embracing this concept of speaking openly is really how that conversation and that narrative is going to change for everyone.
That is true. Because you look at someone who looks like they don't have life problems, but when
we all
they speak
do.
about them,
we all do, guys. We all do.
We're all going through stuff.
Something. Do something.
Life is tough for everyone. Life is tough for everyone. Yes, our challenges are different, and we approach them and feel them differently. But it does not mean that the challenges are not there. Yes. So I fully see how getting influential people on the boat rocks the boat even harder.
Thank you.
Yes. Love it. So with you having to balance all of these roles that you're doing, listen, Kovini is founder of Boss Babe. She's managing here. She's a chartered accountant. She's a mental health activist. Balancing those roles can be really challenging. How do you manage your time and your responsibilities effectively? How do you strike a balance?
So the first thing is that I have a full-time corporate job, which is all about managing risk and audit for a large listed JSE company. And I think what's very imperative to note is that is my first priority. Giving back to my work and being able to execute excellently at work is my first priority during the weekdays. And I think for me, it's really just been a journey of becoming excellent at what I do. Because the better you become at your craft, whatever your craft is, the more time you're going to have to do other things. The more time you're going to be able to supplement with other things that you're really passionate about, that your soul is calling you to do. And that's really been my strategy for success. I've been in the role now for 10 years, doing this risk and audit role. And, I can safely say that I'm an SME. I'm an expert at what I do. And that, of course, creates, a bit more time for me to be able to focus on other initiatives that I'm called to do, other initiatives that are also very important to me.
Wow. So, essentially, your drive is what pushes you to strike in the balance. So you make the time for the things
Absolutely.
that you want.
I believe you will make the time for things that you love.
Yes.
And every day the priority scale changes.
Yes.
And I think that's what's important. When you become excellent at your craft, you can have that flexibility to change your priorities a little bit here and there to be able to accommodate. People often tell me you make it look so easy, you make it look so seamless. But guys, there's work behind work. And I think that's what people need to recognize is that once you get excellent at what you do, all I can say is that your excellence will follow you in whatever else you do.
There's no overnight success.
That's so true.
Yes,
That's so true. There is no such thing.
It takes time. And what you give in, you get out.
Correct.
I'm such a firm believer of that. And the fact that you mentioned it also reminds me of a quote I constantly play to myself, that if you don't give it 100%, you're only cheating yourself. You know? And 100% looks different for us all.
Correct.
You know, your best is not my best, is not the next person's best. But once you've given it your best, that is your 100%.
Correct.
And if you didn't give it 100%, you're not fooling anybody else but yourself. You know, yes. So in you mentioning that it takes the time, the drive, and loving what you do, you will find a way to balance. It makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it makes more sense because I'm relating it to myself.
Right.
You know, there's days where I sit and I'm just like, yo, why did I bite off more than I could chew? You know, I'm a final year economics student. I am, you know, part of this amazing news channel, Scattered News. You know, I'm an MC, I'm an events host, I'm a this, I'm a that. And I'm just like, did I bite off more than I can chew? But then I sit and I'm also just like, no, but I'm that girl, you know, and I can do it. And it's going to be tough sometimes, but because I know I'm capable, I will make it happen.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I get it.
Awesome.
I get it. And I do
awesome.
agree with the fact that you do make it look very easy. You make it look so seamless. I think people who follow you on social media wouldn't say you've got a full-time, you know, like 9-to-5 job. I wouldn't think that personally.
Again, I think it's what you're choosing to put out there.
Yeah. It comes
And
back
that's
to what
important
you're
to
choosing.
What do you want to put out there?
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Yeah. So how do you integrate the things that you do, your 9-to-5 work life, and your other craft that you're doing on the side with Boss Babes and you know, your advocacy and so forth? How do you interlink them, or they don't
really interlink, but they're all an extension of Kovini.
Yes.
So we all have a professional part to us, we have a social part to us, we have all different facets to ourselves. And, you know, we don't necessarily have to interlink them, but we can just understand that the different activities that we do bring us different levels of joy in life. And that's the way I like to look at it. And as long as you're pulling on the levers that bring you joy every day, you will start to lead a life of contentment. There's no doubt about that, because you'll be doing things that your heart wants you to do. And that's very, very important.
Wow, completely in agreement. Completely. So, with you doing... How long has Boss Babes been active, actually?
It was created in March of 2020, so just over 3 years.
Oh, wow.
More like 3.5 years now. So it's been a journey. It was started actually 2 weeks before COVID, before we could go into the actual full-on lockdown, which I think was the 26th of March. So it was started in the beginning of March, and that's really where the idea started to spark about we're going to go into lockdown, and how do we create this space where women can still collaborate using a digital means.
Oh, okay. Nice. So can you share with us, with now Boss Babes having been active for about 3 years, can you share some of the success stories or transformative experiences from individuals who've been impacted by your female empowerment initiatives and by Boss Babes? What are some of the success stories of the people who have been impacted by what you do?
So there's 3 main ways that we impact. The first is through daily content on Instagram and LinkedIn. The second is through go live conversations, like I mentioned, with inspirational women. And the third is around skill sharing. So that means if you've got a skill, you come into the platform. If you're let's just say you're a monetization expert, or you're a public speaker, whatever it may be, you partner with us and you come onto the platform and you actually teach our audience something that they didn't know before. And those are the 3 pillars in which we are able to add value. And the way that we measure it is just by, you know, the direct messages that we get, the feedback that we receive via email and on Instagram, telling us how it's, you know, shaped their world, or how it's changed them, or how, you know, they feel more empowered to go and chase after their dreams. Because like I said, that's what it's all about. It's about having your dream and believing that it's possible for you, irrespective of what the noise is saying, or what the people around you may be saying. I believe that when you have a vision for yourself, you're often called for that particular purpose. And as human beings, as women, we need to be able to honor that purpose.
Sure. Okay, so with that being said, is there anything that you feel like you want to incorporate more, or add more or modify with Boss Babes to make it better? Or do you feel like you are at a place where you're happy?
There's a level of contentment, definitely, but we're looking for more brands to come on board and support us with bursaries. I believe that education is really important, and it sets the tone for everything. It sets the foundation for everything in your life, and I'm a firm believer in education, having my own academic background as a CA. So I would like to be able to impart that and empower those that may not have the means to be able to do that. And that's why we're looking out for sponsors and, other women empowerment brands that want to come through and help us to put people through university, for example, help them to achieve their first degree, help them to, write up their CVs, help them to land that first job, which, as you know, in South Africa is a very, very challenging thing at this point.
So if you have to, because you've probably done this before, where you sat and just thought about the vision, for Boss Babes, and you thought about, hey, where are we trying to be in 5 years? So if you don't mind sharing that vision with us, what is it? Where do you see Boss Babes in the near future?
I definitely see us bigger and better, that's for sure. Hopefully in an office space, which I'd love to see in hot pink,
Yes, pink is
hot
the
pink.
color. And it looks so good on you.
So, thank you. It's my color. I love it. I just love it.
Yes.
So hopefully in a nice pink office space and collaborating with leading brands in South Africa. Brands that support women empowerment, that are willing to put their money where their voice is. And we can only do that with the power of, brands coming forward and saying, we love what you stand for, and let's start to collaborate, and let's see how we can actually, take this whole concept of transformative change to a whole new level.
So with you now having transformed on, such big levels, collaborating with the people that you have, Boss Babes being what it is, even on social media, your personal account is verified, right? That is great. And then is Boss Babes verified yet? Not yet?
No.
Oh, okay, but it is still appealing.
I'm sure it will come. It will come when it comes.
Yes. We
are
manifesting.
But thank you. Manifesting always.
Manifesting.
Law of attraction fan right here. I've got the secret lying right there. I really believe that the power of our thoughts is everything.
Yes.
What we put out is what we get back.
Yes.
And it's so important to be intentional about what we're thinking about all day. What are we spending our time thinking about? Something that happened to us yesterday, even though the box won yesterday, and that's really, really incredible.
Yay, go boys!
But what are we putting out there in terms of our energy?
Yes.
What are we manifesting for our future?
Yes.
And I think that, what's very important is to make sure that you surround yourself with great women, great people that are going to, support your dreams, support your vision, not look back and laugh at you and say, well, that's too big for you. So I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, is just to be able to surround myself with powerful women and women that are willing to mentor me and support me in my journey.
We were speaking about how we never stop learning.
Yes.
Right? As growing individuals, developing individuals, you were saying that once you stop learning, there must be something wrong. There must be something wrong. It's just a constant series of learning and improving and becoming better, right?
And I think we live in such a dynamic environment, such dynamic worlds, that we need to be constantly adjusting. And learning is part of being able to adjust and align to where we need to be.
Most definitely. Kovini, can you just take us through what is the criteria for becoming a member of Boss Babes SA? Like, what is it that you look at the most, or that you suss out first before accepting members into the movement?
So we're really about being inclusive, which I think is really, really important in today's environment and climate. So anyone can be a Boss Babe of South Africa. All you need to do is go across to our website and register. It's www.bossbabesofsouthafrica.co.za. You click on the register button, you fill out your details, and then you're part of the database. But for me, I think a boss babe is more a mindset. It's about having someone who's ambitious, someone who has a dream, and not just having that dream, sort of pie in the sky, but actually taking action, which I think a lot of people forget about. Manifesting is great, and having a vision for yourself is great, but don't forget that there's hard work and action that supports our dreams and our success as well.
So there's no particular criteria. It's more on have a dream, have a vision, want to become a better version of yourself.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Want to take up space, want to own your voice, basically owning your personal power.
Especially because you did mention that you are all about inclusivity.
Yes.
So it really does open up to inclusivity as long as you just know what you want and what you're headed for and
Correct.
where you're going.
Correct.
Yes.
At Boss Babes of South Africa, everyone has a seat at the table.
Yes, everyone has a seat at the I want me a seat at the table too.
Absolutely.
I think definitely after this interview I might go and sign myself up there as well.
You should.
Yeah. So what is it about the criteria that you think makes business sense for you, and also value sense for your members that join?
So Boss Babes of South Africa is currently a philanthropic platform, which I think is important to note. And I think the power of social media lies with being able to create content that your audience resonates with. So I think for me, it's really about uplifting, motivating, and helping women to believe that their dreams are valid. And, I don't know anyone that wouldn't find that to be aspirational or inspiring to themselves. But like I always say, if you don't find our content inspirational or uplifting to you, then that's why there's an unfollow button. And, we don't take anything personally. It really is about you aligning with the type of content that you want to see on social media. Because like I said, everything is an energy exchange. So, you're spending time on a platform, you're spending time on a page. Make sure that it's making you feel good at the end of the day.
That is very true. So with the mission that you have for your platform to build a network of women who support and are sharing skills with each other, and so forth, what are some of the key qualities or characteristics that you feel like are missing in some of the members, or that you feel like they could push more in, or do better in, or improve with? What are some of those qualities?
I think confidence and self-belief is what a lot of women, and especially women of color, struggle with. We've been told that we need to act a certain way, look a certain way, even speak a certain way. And that has sort of, it hurts our self-esteem. And that's the reason why we're big advocates of saying, find your authentic power and bring your authentic self to the tables, the spaces that you find yourselves in. Because I believe without confidence, self-confidence and self-belief, it's very hard to get someone else to believe in you. If you yourself is not spending time, or you don't believe in what you're saying or what you're doing, it's very hard to get even a mentor to want to mentor you if you're not confident in what it is that you're putting out there. And I think especially as a business owner as well, and a brand owner, I think it's very important to be able to highlight your value that you're adding. And you can do that when you feel confident and you feel like you understand what value you're actually adding. So it kind of all works together.
And when you also know what you are bringing to the table,
yes,
and you are confident in what you're bringing to the table, it becomes very important to self-assure yourself of that aspect, because it even translates into the work that you end up doing.
Right. Because people buy into people at the end of the day. As much as we love brands, there are people behind those brands. And I think one of the biggest success factors for Boss Babes of South Africa is just deciding intentionally for myself that I wanted to show up as Kovini. I wanted to show up as the most authentic version of myself. And that resonates with other people and their authenticity, and they suddenly feel that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to share things that you thought maybe you didn't want to, it's taboo, it's scary. It's okay to have different parts to us that we want to keep hidden, for example, or we want to share, or we don't want to. It really is left up to you.
So with the confidence, taking from what you said earlier on when you mentioned that confidence is one of the aspects that you feel like are missing, right? Does Boss Babes have programs or initiatives that help to build and boost confidence of members?
In the future, definitely. But remember, confidence is something that has to come from inside of you, right? I always say not even Beyonce can come to you and say, be confident now. Because it's something that has to come from inside of you. You've got to do the inner work. And I think that for me is where a lot of people look on the outside for things that they've already got within themselves. And for me, it's been a journey to find my own self-confidence, to find my own self-belief. It didn't happen overnight. I want to say it took me about 5 years to finally believe that what I was saying, I was worthy of saying. That I could stand up in a boardroom and people would want to listen to what I had to say. So I think it really is about honing in again and becoming excellent at what you do. Because for me, that excellence is what fueled my confidence. To say that I know that I'm so good at what I'm doing. Now I just need to learn to articulate what it is I'm doing.
Wow. So you can have the burning desire, but learning to articulate is very important because you need to also translate what you're feeling.
Exactly. Yes. And that can only come from you believing in yourself. No one can believe in you for you.
It starts with you. And it starts with you making the decision.
Exactly.
To say that this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do.
Yes.
And this is the path that I am taking.
And this is what I believe in. Because I think when you believe in something, your confidence, your self-belief, it all becomes magnetic. It all pulls together and you're able to speak on a particular topic or show up as a person that you want to be showing up as.
Wow. So then, with that being said, what advice would you give to other women who are also aspiring to make a difference and to promote positive change, amongst other women or in their communities that maybe may not have the resources or that may not, have a big platform to execute on? What advice would you give to women who are trying to also be a Kovini?
I think for me, firstly, it's important to be your own person. And secondly, you want to choose to do something that you're truly passionate about. I think that's one of the nuggets that I want to leave the audience with. Looking at someone and finding them to be aspirational is really great because it helps you to motivate yourself towards where you want to go. But I think for me, what's been a success factor is just finding what I'm truly good at. What my soul is calling me to do, what my higher self or my power, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, is calling me to do. And I think that is where you need to really spend time with yourself, reflecting on yourself, getting to know exactly who you are, not what the world defines you to be. And that's really where you can start to find your passion and focus on it. Because, I think for me, if you don't have the passion, then when you go through a challenge, if you don't know your why well enough when you're going through this journey, the smallest sort of challenge or speed bump can throw you completely off. So I think it's very important to know your why before you start anything, any venture, any project, professional or social.
Knowing the reason behind why you're starting it, because that
Absolutely.
will fuel everything else that you're going to do, following up to you knowing why you started it, right?
Absolutely.
So do you think that because my question was also more on the resource aspect of things, right? There are many young women out there who I think I'd like to assume know their why, right? Or at least are on the journey of discovering their why, but they don't have the means to bring the why to life, So what is it that those women can do, or what can help them to get to a place where it's better than it was when they just had the initial thought about it, considering the situation and circumstances?
It's a digital world, guys, right? Everything is happening now on social media, so If you don't have resources, but you've got a phone, you've got access to data, or you can get that, that's where you should be starting. Most of the brands are starting with a page on social media, very much like what Boss Babes of South Africa did. It cost me $0 to start. It was an idea that I put down and started to build and grow and invest my time and effort more than anything, and my voice to that platform. So I think if you're struggling with resources at this point, also don't try and be a perfectionist. Just start. You're not going to have everything the way you envision it that you're going to have, you're not going to have everything that you envision immediately. But you have an ultimate vision, and just start. Don't wait. You have a phone, you have data. Start with your Instagram page. Start building your community. Those are all things that are completely free of charge, that take more of your effort than any form of resource.
Most definitely. And I relate to that on a personal level. Yes, right. I do relate to it on a personal level. So fine, we have established how ladies who don't have much resources can go about it. Yes, they can just start. Yes. Right. So with you, that did start and is now using social media.
Correct.
The way you are.
Correct.
And it is working. It is
Correct.
working for you. It is working for the brand. It is working for what you're trying to build.
Correct.
So how has social media or media in general advanced the causes that you are doing and that you're passionate about in the most positive way? Could be positive or negative, actually. Please share experiences of both.
For me, it's been a very positive journey. I know that people often associate social media with hate or negativity, but for me, I want to say I can count the number of times where I've gotten nasty comments. I think what's very important is to know your why and push ahead, right? No one is going to come and tell you what you need to do or how you need to do it. I think the thing that I love the most about social media is that it has leveled the playing fields for everyone. Back in the day, you would have to go to, for example, a printed media house, bang on the doors, probably break doors and get them to publish a story for people to know who you are. And now with social media, all you need to do is create a social media page, have a strategy, which is what Boss Babes of South Africa also helps with, strategy, implementing your strategic plan, and then helping you grow a powerful brand. So I think it's important for you to just keep that vision going. I've had very positive experiences. I know some people have not had great experiences. But at the end of the day, I think if you have a strong why, then the negativity that you do encounter, be it on social media or sometimes from people in real life, is a lot more easier to handle. It's not that it doesn't take its toll on you, it does, but it's a lot easier to handle when you understand that I'm doing this for a greater purpose. I'm doing this to add my voice to those who may not have a voice, and I'm doing this to uplift and transform spaces that I find myself in and others find themselves in.
So you only have positive experiences with social media?
I've had negative comments, but like I'm saying, it was a lot easier to get over because of the fact that I know why I'm doing this. So what you tell me about myself doesn't really hurt me, because I've also spent time working on who I am. And when you know who you are, that's probably one of the most powerful things that you can give back to yourself, knowing who you are.
That is very true. That is very, very true. So have you considered at some point, maybe in future, monetizing on Boss Babes, or do you just want to keep it as an NPO forever?
Definitely monetizing. I think there's power in having a brand, and there's power in being able to make money from something that you worked. I think that's so powerful. So definitely in the long term, we see ourselves with masterclasses, focusing on transformative change, focusing on social media strategy, and a host of other topics. So I think what's been great is we've had a lot of Boss Babes come forward and selflessly offer up their time over the last 3.5 years. And beyond this, we'd want people to be able to do that in the form of paid masterclasses, so that we can actually pay those that are bringing their skills to the platform and create a sustainable economy in the longer term for South Africa.
So now, with your expertise as a chartered accountant and the work that you're currently doing, how do you think you are going to incorporate that with your aim to monetize over the coming few years?
So I think for me, entrepreneurship is the key to driving a sustainable economy in South Africa. And we as responsible corporate citizens can all be a part of that. So I think for me, it really is about building those brands, creating those little businesses, and starting to employ people, because that's the solution. If everyone can do that and start to employ a few people, that's going to contribute towards our longer term solution. I don't see at this point, from my knowledge and from the experience that I have, the unemployment rate getting better than it is without the power of entrepreneurship and us supporting and creating those opportunities outside of the corporate space.
Okay, so the key is in entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Even if you are, employing one person, that's one family that you're supporting. That's one family that is now going to have a meal for a week or for a month. And I think that's what it's all about. That's where our mindset needs to be when we talk about how do we reduce employment. We have these conferences and there's this whole talk and drive around how do we do this. But I believe that we all have the opportunity to be able to create employment, even if it's just for one person.
Especially considering the economy of our country right now.
Correct.
It's cost of living is so high.
Correct.
So being able to put food on someone else's table is something that, you would feel good about doing. So, yeah, I see how the entrepreneurship aspect comes into it, and job creation as well. And job creation. I do hope and pray that Boss Babes does monetize over the coming years. I do. I believe in it so much. so much. So can you share some of your future plans or projects that you have on the pipeline? Especially in the area of female empowerment and mental health advocacy and so forth.
I think female empowerment means different things to different people, right? And I think what I wanted to say and what's become quite evident for me after having Boss Babes for 3.5 years is that we talk about female empowerment, but at the core of that is really, is there diversity, equity, and inclusion in the spaces that we find ourselves in? More importantly, inclusion. So inclusion for me is when you go to a party and they're actually playing your music. So then you feel like you belong in that particular space. And I think that's really where I want to drive a lot more of my attention and focus over the next few months, because it's something that I'm truly passionate about. And as a woman of color, my own lived experiences definitely say that there is work that needs to be done in that area to make people feel like they truly belong in the spaces that they occupy.
Bring us back to inclusion.
Yes.
Being an inclusive space.
Yes.
Having an inclusive course. That you are driving and that you are bringing forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So beautiful.
Absolutely.
Kovini, we are near to the end of our lovely conversation. I think what we just like to know is what is a message that you would truly want to send out to our viewers, that are going to be watching this conversation that we're having. What is it that you feel like you are so strongly feeling, so passionate about, that you want the other person who's going to be listening to Kovini to know or to hear at the end of this, that is utmost important to you?
I believe to everyone who's watching this, your light is strong. Your light is stronger than you can imagine. So my advice is to never let anyone dull your shine or kill that light within you, kill that spirit within you. Always be sure of who you are. And the only way you can do that is by reflecting and actually knowing who you are. And I believe that, like I said earlier on, when you know who you are, it's very difficult for someone to tell you who you are. It's very difficult for someone to impact your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your self-belief, because you become one with who you really are and what you're meant to achieve here on earth.
Well, you heard it here first. Kovini, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Actually, thank you for having us because we're in your space. Thank you so much for just being the person that you are, for agreeing for us to have this conversation. It has been so inspiring. It has been so empowering. I know that I'm definitely leaving here, you know, with much more knowledge than I came with.
Right.
So we appreciate it so much at Scattered News, and we really wish you all of the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
May we see Boss Babes be everything you want it to be, you know, your mental health advocacy and so forth. May everything just come to fruition even better than what it already is. So we just want to say thank you for being here. That is Kovini Moodley, and I am Boipelo Mosehla, and it has been absolutely lovely having this conversation. We are Scattered TV.